I'm 3 days into part two of the De La Maza vision training. I started that Monday. It's Wednesday today. And so this drill is going to last 1 week if it seems to be effective, according to him. And that is part one of the night sight drill. And so I'll do that real quick, and then I'll just kind of maybe real briefly talk about some things some thoughts I have as I go through the program. I'm going to let my cat out quicker. He'll be upset. You want to come out, Legs? No? In or out? Alright, maybe not. So, this one, you start with your knight in the corner, you make your way up around the board, and you physically tap the squares it can go to. The idea is to make these squares pop out to you more. And so I'll just go through it. So tap on the squares it can go to. I like to take my time. I mean, not a lot of time, but like really try to look hard at those squares. And the idea is they pop out more to you over time. This one doesn't take very long, obviously. And then after 1 week of this, there'll be a different drill to do. But I have done this drill in the past, and I think it does help. You can kind of see them more quickly after you do it for a bit. Probably not very exciting to watch, but doesn't take very long. All right, so that's it. Not very long. Sometimes I go quick, sometimes I take a little longer and stare at the squares. Sometimes I'll pull it out more than once per day. It's just once per day for the next week. And then you see if the squares pop out to you. And if you don't feel like they pop out to you, the squares at the night, just you throw it on a random square. You see if the squares that it can go to pop out to you. And if it doesn't, then you keep going until it does. So, yeah, I'm only, 2.5 weeks into the MDML program now, trying to do it exactly as prescribed. Been looking, through different parts of the book. I'm kind of, I'm probably try to go through and read it word for word. I did in the past, actually, but probably do that again. I've been trying to play the games, analyze them. I already made a video on that, kind of how De La Maza suggested. And the other thing I'm contemplating, and this is like the bane of adult improvers, but one thing I noticed is like he learns his openings one move at a time. And I noticed it looks like he played the Sicilian, and he tries to play for tactical positions. And as I was thinking about that, it makes a lot of sense if you're using his program to maybe play more tactically based openings, because like you're going to be doing all these vision drills, tactical drills, And his idea is kind of use tactics to kind of overwhelm your opponent, because his thought is as well, his goal wasn't to get to 2200 or 2300 or IM or something, it was to get to 2000. And so one of his central arguments was that you don't need to have, he didn't like explicitly say this, I don't think, but it was more or less the kernel of it was of that you don't need advanced strategical um, understanding to just tactically overwhelm people up to a certain point. And so I'm considering, I got the Chess Goals membership lifetime thing, and they have a Sicilian Dragon course, but it's kind of an interesting take on it. And I used to play the Accelerated Dragon, and this is not the Accelerated Dragon. This is like a kind of a weird form of the dragon that Dubov played. But you get highly tactical positions. You have to sacrifice materials sometimes. Um, and I thought about maybe playing that. I mean, you hate to change and stuff, but if the point is just to learn tactics and get good at them, those positions have like all kinds of stuff going on different parts of the board. Long ray pieces. A lot of times you'll have your bishops, you'll have your bishops, I guess, down here, pointing over at the king side, pointing at the king side of the other player, and so I'm thinking I may do that just to learn something new and get more tactical positions, and then pair that. They have a course on the Binko, and interestingly, I did used to play the Binko a little tiny bit, and I abandoned it. Just like like that's like I said, that's something to avoid constantly switching. But some of the best results I ever had was playing the Binko and the Sicilian Kalishnikov. I remember I played it at the first U.S. Open I played in, and I played it in the first. I didn't play in the actual U.S. Open part of it. I just played. I had to work that week, so I played in the Blitz part of it, and I didn't get shut out by anybody, which was kind of cool. Like sometimes I would have just one draw and one loss, but I let my cat out. Sorry, come out, Wags, either in or out. Okay, so and I actually, looking back at it, I had a win against Brandon Jacobson when he was a little kid, but he was almost like 2000, and I beat him with the Binko. And so the Binko is also one of those openings that's very dynamic, a lot of stuff going on, and it would be like a really good opportunity to work on tactics, especially like your long rays of action, because you'll have the equivalent of the dragon bishop, bearing down on the other side of the board. And so a lot of like similar tactics to the dragon in a way, but it makes you see all areas of the board, and that's kind of what you're trying to do when you go through this um, De La Maza method. And so my thought is potentially, I got 5.5 months that I'm dedicating to this. The whole purpose is to get better at tactics and board visualization and work on the actual skills that you can use to beat people at a class level. And so I'm thinking maybe you just got to put your ego aside and play these more complicated openings and just take your lumps, knowing that your rating will probably go down, but your actual skill will improve. And then you can take those new skills with you forward after if you're done with the program, and decide then, you can take those skills back to your original openings or whatever. But it kind of makes more sense. Like I played some games in it, and I've beaten two strong, well, not strong, but stronger than me, stronger opponents, I should say, um, playing this thing, not knowing what I'm doing yet. And you get positions where like I'll make two mistakes and a blunder, and my opponent will make two mistakes and two blunders or something, and we'll both not play at a high accuracy level. But the game, when you review it afterwards, has all these tactical opportunities to learn from. And so that's what I'm thinking going forward. I'll try to make a video with the next night vision drill. I'm just trying to document my process as I go through. So we'll see how it goes.